Deacon Tony and I were having a little chat just before Mass. We were talking about the readings, and he reminded me of an image I saw, I think it was on the news, of the leaders, the world leaders meeting, we think it was Davos several years ago. And the image was of the world leaders all jostling for space to get the best picked place in the photograph at the end of the meeting. And it kind of was what was reminding, the gospel today reminded us of that event. We're hearing in these readings basically the Lord turning over upside down the way that people think nowadays, the way the world thinks, showing how Christianity, the following of Jesus, is completely the opposite of the following of the world. The world takes the easy path, and the path of sin is easy. And so we have the scribes and Pharisees at this dinner pushing their way to the front, jostling to get to the best seat. And it's to exalt oneself, to show how good I am. But how do we do that? How were they doing that? They push other people out of the way. You know, and so the use of force. The force is easier because then if I'm strong, then it doesn't matter. I can get my way. Stealing is easier because I don't have to work hard to earn the money. I can just take what I want. Lying is easier because I can get what I want if I can deceive the other person to think I'm this, that, or the other. It's easier that way. Why should I have to show or say what is actually true when I can lie and pretend something else and get my way through deception? Destroying, knocking down is easy, and you see that in the internet with the way people speak and write on these chat forums or whatever it is. You know, the destructive, that's easier. The destructive word is easier than the word that builds, because building is hard work. It requires patience. It requires thinking, thought, you know, whereas sin doesn't require that. And so the easy way is going down the river towards the sea. That is easy. The easy way is maybe going where the sun shines rather than where it's winter. You know, I'm saying the sun and winter because I'm starting to notice the geese flying north. I'm thinking, they're nuts. You know, these birds are crazy because they're going to where it's freezing. You know, I would be heading the opposite direction, but they're not. It seems to be counterintuitive, but that's what they're doing. But having noticed them, if you've ever noticed them, what you'll see is that geese do not fly by themselves. I'll come back to that. St. Paul also is speaking about the same thing to do, you know, he's counterintuitive. His main thing is that Christ is proclaimed. The text just before that, he was saying that some people are proclaiming Christ out of genuine love for Christ, to see Christ glorified. Others out of selfishness, out of pride, out of self-aggrandizement, or whatever it is. Much like the first reading. And he said, I don't care. As long as Christ is proclaimed. That's the main thing. Because, folks, that is the main thing. That Christ is proclaimed. It's not about me. It's about Christ. And so Paul, in prison, has this dilemma, to die or to continue to live. Dying is easy. That is flowing down the stream towards the sea. It's easy to let go of life. It's easy to give up. That's always a temptation. You know, why continue working? I've done my bit. I've given my £10 to the church. I've given my whatever it is, and I don't need to give anymore. I've done it. It's finished. I can give up now. I've spent my time serving as a this or that in the church. I no longer need to do it. I've done my time. I can now give up. It's okay to give up, is the temptation. I have been praying all my life. You know, in the last years, I think I'll just stop this. I can give up. I've been trying to love my husband, my wife, my children for all these years. I've had enough. It's time to give up. I've spoken about Jesus Christ to people. They never listen. But so I've done that. it's time to give up, and we stop, and we can start floating down the river because it's easy. And Paul has that temptation in front of him. I'm in prison. I can give up. But he doesn't want to give up, because this is the most important thing, is Christ proclaimed. Giving up for him would be and is selfishness. I've done my bit, time to stop. With Paul and with Jesus, it is never time to stop. In heaven, you will not stop, by the way. Heaven isn't a place where you say, I've done my bit, I don't have to do anything more. That comes at the end of time, when everything is wound up and there's nobody left in creation because creation is finished. That's when we've done our bit, because in heaven we will be praying for people here. Love is active. It is active. And the people in heaven have not given up and do not give up on us. They pray for us. And St. Paul continues. He is not going to give up. Yes, death is such a wonderful thing, to be with the Lord, but more important is you. That you might come to know the Lord. It's hard work. Paul has to continue to endure his imprisonment and his suffering so that he can proclaim Christ, so that you can come to know him and love him and serve him in this life and praise him eternally in the next. He doesn't take the easy route out, nor does Jesus. Folks, however much we think we've done, and I'm preaching here to myself as well, because it's easier just to sit back and do nothing. We're not to stop. The enemy doesn't stop, and the Lord does not stop either. We're not dead fish. We should be like the salmon who race up the river against currents, up waterfalls. No matter the opposition, continue to going forth, because the more they go forward, the more they reach the end of the fount, where the spring, where the water comes forth, and it's there that they bring life. They die and bring life. And folks, that's the same for us. We swim up the river to give life, and as we give life, we die at the same time. But it is Christ who's proclaimed. And we never stop that.